Hello, so today I'd like to talk about what maturity is, what it is to be a mature person, how to get maturity, and this within the frame of the Big Five personality model and of the MBTI. So before I start, I'd like you to like the video or subscribe to the channel or share this video. It will help the channel very much. It would help me grow and add more added value to this channel. Thank you. So there are two ways to say that one is mature, in a broad sense and in a narrow sense. In a broader sense, it means simply having a balanced personality. So each type of the MBTI will have to be mature to balance their personality. In a narrow sense, there is a more objective meaning which can be defined by four aspects which we will see. So first, the broad sense. In the broad sense, I would suggest that each type to be healthy should try to be more balanced and not count too much on their first function. Therefore, they should try to develop a little bit more their third function and more still their fourth function. For example, an INTP has TI first, so he should endeavor to develop SI, but especially FE, that is, liking other persons and caring about them. And ESFJ has FE first, so he or she won't have in caring for others, but will have problem with the analysis and logic, and so should try to develop logic. A person with an I first should try to develop SE, to pay attention to details. A person with SI first should try to develop NE, to see patterns. Now, as for the Big Five, it is a model which resembles a little bit, which is composed of extroversion, openness, conscientiousness, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So as for the Big Five, I would suggest that a person who is very extrovert could force themselves to spend sometimes time alone, for example, to rebalance themselves. A person who is very open-minded can try to be a little bit more pragmatic, more down to earth. A person who is very conscientious can try to be less orderly when there is no need of being very orderly. Can try to be less perfectionistic, less rigid. A person who is very agreeable can try to say no sometimes, to be more assertive. Sometimes cooperation is not the best way, and sometimes justice is more important than goodwill. And a person who is high, for example, in irritability or in anxiety, can try some exercises to try to lower their feelings of fear or anxiety. Now, this was for the broad meaning. Now, for the narrow meaning, I would say there are four aspects of what a mature person is, and we will try to define them. And this is common for all types. That means that all types should try to converge towards those aspects, but still keeping their personality, of course. So those four aspects are responsibility, self-mastery, altruism or emotional intelligence, and clear-sightedness. So responsibility, I would suggest that a person who is a mature person should be a responsible person, careful of the consequences and taking for responsibility for what they do. So they should have following big five traits, which are linked to conscientiousness, which are self-efficacy, dutifulness, self-discipline, and cautiousness. And especially cautiousness, I would say, would be at the center of being a responsible person. And this has got to do with the J, so with people who have T or FE, but I would say T most because it is linked with planning and attaining goal and not being distracted. So secondly, I would say self-mastery. And as for self-mastery, there are some aspects of conscientiousness like achievement striving, but also some aspects of low neuroticism or emotional stability, like trying to diminish anger, diminish immoderation, that is resisting temptation, and diminishing vulnerability, so the sensitivity to criticism or to stress. And I would say that the aspect of conscientiousness, of achievement striving, is here very linked with the TE. So one should develop a strong TE or a strong J, if you want, in the form of the thinking. And as for lowering anger, immoderation, and vulnerability, I don't see any connection with the MBTI directly, but I would suggest that it is linked with a greater awareness, which we will see in the clair-sightedness aspect, fourth one. Then comes altruism or emotional intelligence. I suppose that a person who is mature has gained emotional intelligence, has gained the ability to understand people and to sympathize with them, and so it would be a development of FE. So it will be obvious for people with FE already, but for the types who don't have it, they should develop it to gain FE. So it is 5 facets of agreeableness: morality, altruism, caring about others, cooperation, that is respecting others, modesty, not being vain, not being narcissistic, and sympathy, sympathy being the ability to feel others' problems. So FE corresponding to altruism, and then clear-sightedness. And I must say that clear-sightedness doesn't line up very much either with the big five or the MBTI, and I would suggest that it's more like a vertical axis, and that the big five and the MBTI model are more horizontal, and it's more a deepening of understanding of life. So the only facet which I could connect it to would be intellect or ideas, which is intellectual curiosity, asking deep question, and it would be linked mainly with the N of the MBTI, because N is abstraction and seeing patterns, and especially NT because it is a matter not so much of feeling but of understanding, and especially since it is an original understanding, I would say TI. And as for the N, I would say it's an N which remains very open, so it's more an E. So to develop clear-sightedness, the facet would be intellect, ideas, but there are also other aspects which don't correspond really much with the MBTI, the big five, like developing awareness, developing self-analysis, developing an attitude of no prejudice, which might correspond to liberalism in the big five, and developing rationality. And all this could have an impact also on self-mastery and on negative emotions, because seeing things in this way, seeing things as they are, lucidity would create a feeling of detachment and of equanimity, and lower anger, lower immoderation and vulnerability. So to sum up, what is it to be balanced? To be balanced, it is first to be mature, first to balance one's personality, trying to spend time alone if one is an extrovert, trying to socialize more if one is an introvert. But it is also developing 4 qualities, and those qualities, as we said, are responsibility, which tend to correspond to our conscientiousness, self-mastery, which correspond both to a kind of industriousness and low neuroticism, altruism, which is agreeability, and clear-sightedness, which might correspond to N, NT, and for the big five to intellect, EDI. Thank you. So leave a comment and I will answer soon.